Hello there everybody, this is Brad, aka MegaTrain, and this is a how-to video. I'm showing the design of a village that can actually hold and manage 100 separate villagers, so I'll give you guys the tour here. It's got a outer ring that holds all the villagers, and I'll show you guys how these little compartments work. And I have a iron golem spawner in the middle as well. Oop. Chunk air going on there. And I've got a golem dropping in there, joining my pack. The characteristic that I was going for really here is that this whole thing is buildable just using wood. So it's great for a challenge map. I'm actually using this design for a challenge map I'm playing called OceanBlock. You could build it in the sky. You could really build it anywhere. It's not a fancy design with redstone and with carts and all sorts of fancy stuff. There's some great fancy infinite village tricks using some of those things, but this one really is just a great way to build up a whole lot of villagers pretty quickly and get them in a place where they're really manageable. So great if you need to be able to organize these villagers and keep track of them and manage their trades separately. So let me give you guys just a little bit of a tour here. The center here is an 18 by 18 with a 2 by 2 hole in the middle. The spawning area for iron golems is 16 by 16, so they should all spawn within this water area as long as your doors are symmetrical. Let me fly outside here. All of my doors right now are on the outside of the farm, and I actually have 2 full rows of doors. That's like 286 doors. Actually, with these extra ones in the corner, that's 290, which is enough for me to spawn 100 villagers. These villagers in the middle, I've actually got little cubby holes that allow me to sort and separate them. So I've got these little cubbies here. I can push a guy or into one of these cubbies, or wait until he walks into one himself, trap him in with a fence, and then decide whether he's worth keeping or whether I want to get rid of him. If he's worth keeping, I'll put a sign up here. It says, you know, $2 redstone, or whatever the train. Oops. So gold, whatever the trade is. If he's not somebody that I want to hold on to, I wouldn't put a sign there. All I would do is I'd take my sand, drop it over the top, and he'd disappear. You can't do this with just fences around because they glitch through the fences. That's why I've got these solid blocks on the left and the right. And it's just a block and a slab with a fence in the front and a solid wall 2.5 blocks high behind it. So that's the basic design. There's a couple of extra little tricks that I've got a channel underneath that helps me to retrieve these golems. Oh, there's another one. And I'll show you guys how that works. But again, the water is 18 by 18, so this inner wall is at 16 by 16. Between the two, I have a gap of 7, and then I've got my outer wall. So this outer wall is basically 36 by 36, and so you add 2 more, 38, and I've got total is a 40 by 40 slab. So again, if you're building this on an island or in the sky in Skyblock, you'll need a 40 by 40 slab. Alright, so I've actually started the whole process over here in a new area. This is far enough away so it should count as a separate village and not mingle with the other one. But I put some measurements here, and so that you can see that basically the inner square is the 18 by 18, like I said, and the reason for that is so I can have a full run, 8-block run of water from any of the edges to the center. So let me clear these inner blocks, and I'll just go right down the edge, placing those. Alright, that is most of the water blocks that I need, and that's going to drive them to the center channel here. There's really two options from here. I could just place water blocks like that. It does actually work. There's a couple of dead spots here that I've really not ever had any trouble with, but hypothetically speaking, it's possible that could cause you some trouble. So the other option is to go ahead and drop this center channel down a row, just to give a tiny bit better water flow, and then to drop water source blocks at the end of those channels. Okay. I'm actually going to, while I'm thinking about it, drop this center down a bit more. So I've got 1, 2, I want it down 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is enough so that Minecraft considers that that iron golem out of the village entirely, so it will continue spawning new iron golems. It's 7 or 8, but 8 is safe. We'll have to have some way to kill those guys and retrieve that. You could, again, you could make a lava blade. You could do all sorts of things with this, but I'm doing just the simplest materials possible, and that's my design. So that's what the center looks like. Let me skip the middle part, the center channel here, just to show you the distance. So this gap is 7. Part of the reason is just to give enough room to maneuver and to have those 2 rows of cubicles, if you will. But the other part is because of the lighting distance of a torch. A single torch is going to be able to cover to both corners of this. So that's one of the reasons that I did that. Alright, so I've got my doors around the outside here. I actually left one just so I could show you. You've got to be facing toward the outside. If I was facing this way, the door would be placed on that side of the block. If I was facing this way, it would be placed on that side. So you've got to be pointing outward if you want your door to appear there. So ultimately, if you want to have a total of 100 villagers, you need 2 rows of doors. Obviously, if you're doing a challenge map and just building up to that, you could start with 1, or you could just start with a single row of doors on one side and a single row of doors on the other. You definitely want to keep it symmetrical, though, because the center of the village is calculated by the position of the doors, and you want the center of the village in the middle, because that's where the iron golems are going to spawn. So if you're going to build your doors slowly or unevenly, you definitely want to at least keep them symmetrical as you're going about your business. So let me throw a few villagers in the center here, and obviously in a challenge map I'd have to get these guys in here, but for the sake of this video I'm going to be choosing a little bit. These guys should pretty quickly realize that they're in a village if they can sense the doors out here, which they should be able to. And once they get oriented, I should start seeing some hearts going on. Next thing I'm going to show you guys is how these cubes work in the center here. These cubbies holes. So I'm going to need to get my oak planks. And on the inner, I'll just start on the right-hand side, and I'll just do every other one. Ooh, I got people in the way. Alright, so pretend we don't have people in the way. Okay, now every single one of these is going to be a full slab with a half slab on top. Oops. Obviously, because that's the distance I need so that they can't jump on top of it. I also want a fence in front. Now the fence in front isn't going to truly accomplish anything until I start bumping these guys into position. That just completes the gate, completes the circle, so that these guys can start getting trapped in booths. One note about the way that the corner works here, I've gone all the way past the edge, and so the next side is going to actually start right here. So we've got kind of got a double corner, if you will, and that's just because I have an even number on the side instead of an odd number. So I would go all the way around the inside in the same way. Okay. Alright, so let me go ahead and finish the inner path, and then I'll turn around and show you guys the outer path. Alright, I'm back. I've finished my my inner circle here. Ooh, and I've got my first iron golems falling down there. And as you can already see, these guys love to get into these little corners. So it's really very, very easy to trap them in. You can trap them when they're kids. They'll stay in there until they grow up. You can trap them when they're grown, or you can give them a little bit push. It's actually harder to do at night because they seem to be a bit more determined to go just where they want to go to at night, especially during the day when they're a bit more docile. If you creep, if you shift when you're moving, you can really pretty easily push them into each of these boxes. And as I've said before, you right-click, check out what their trade is. If it's something you like, you stick a sign up there so that you can label them and keep track of them. If not, now again, this block behind is 2.5, so you point to that half on the top, you can drop 2 sand right down on there and kill them. It does need to be blocks in between here, otherwise that sand, they can like glitch left and right through that, that fence. So he's just died, and I can clear that out. It is ready for my next guy. Alright, so I'm going to actually do the blocks on the outside as well. It just depends on how many villagers you start to grow. You could certainly do the inside one first and then the outside, or even the other way around. The only recommendation I would have is when you start alternating, make sure that your inside blocks line up with your outside blocks as opposed to skipping one. See what I'm talking about there. Make sure they're in a line, and I'll show you why I like to do that in just a second. Really, it allows me to throw a couple of extra sets of fences across there to keep these things lined up. So just like I did on the inside, I'll go all around the whole thing. When I get to the corner, we're going to do the same thing that we did here. We're going to double up. So we hit the corner going right. I'm going to start my next row over by 1. Okay, and it's going to work out symmetrically in each of the corners. The only thing that you'll want to do, finish these, putting those on there. When you put your fences in place, it would be a mistake to put a fence here to start with. Okay, because really there's two different villagers that are going to need to get into these two slots here. So if somebody comes in here first, I'll plop one there, and that still leaves a way for this guy to get in here, even if I've got someone there as well. If this guy gets, if the center guy gets in first, then I can block him off and come here, and then I've just got these two slots to fill. But until I start getting villagers in those corner slots, I need to leave that one fence out. Okay, so the only other thing to watch out for is be aware of where your entrance is and make sure your alternating works out just right. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the cubes on the outside wall. Alright, I'm back. I'm done with my outer wall here all the way around, and I've kind of slotted a few guys in as I've found them in the right place. As I mentioned, during the daytime especially, if you shift and push, you can usually get these guys in a cubby pretty easily. Well, unless they get glitched on the fence here, which is kind of a problem. But just as often, you'll find that they will go in on their own, even these little guys. So the one thing that you do have to do a little bit differently is your exit. I like to put a double fence gate. That way I've got a little bit of an airlock. If I've got a crowd of villagers here, I can make sure that I'm through the first one before I let myself out, so I don't risk letting any of these guys out. I emphasized to try to get these things directly across from each other, blockwise, and the reason for that really is that it allows you to subdivide this thing any way that you'd like. So anywhere you want, I can throw down an extra set of gates across, and I like to do it as gate, fence, gate. That way, if one guy's blocking this one, I can go out the other, because they always seem to be right in the way of where I don't want them to be. Subdividing this will do a couple things. Number one, if I have a zombie outbreak somehow gets in there, it's going to limit the damage to just whatever villagers are in that section, or specifically just the villagers that are free in that section. Anybody that's already trapped in their own little cubby is going to be safe. And by the way, that's one of the advantages to having the doors outside, is that any villager, any zombie sieges that happen in a village, which don't pay any attention to light level, those should happen outside and not inside. Plus, I hate these guys slamming doors all day long, which is nice to have them outside. So what this has done is it gives me 103 slots. It'd be 104 if I didn't have to have my door there. But 103 slots to put these guys in. And the number of doors outside is enough to generate 100 villagers. So you should be able to hypothetically fill every single one of these slots. But the truth is, I shouldn't need that many. As I'm putting these guys into slots, I'm going to be killing at least half of them. Like, oh, glass. I don't need glass. I can just make glass directly from sand if I've got sand on that particular challenge map. So this guy's going to go away, and I'm going to, somewhere else, I'm going to get a new villager kid born. Okay. So the final thing I'm going to show you guys is how to one idea for how to make an iron farm. So lots of ways to do it with redstone and lava blades and stuff, but in the sake of simplicity here, the same side where I've got my exit, I made some stairs down and just the channel that goes to the center. So I'll just break through the very last spot here. So there's a couple ways to kill these guys. The very easiest way is just to drop sand. So again, if you've just got your very basic supplies, and you don't have like pistons and redstone and stuff like that, You could just make a stairway down here, and all I would have to do is drop 3 sand on these guys. So just click right up the wall and drop 3 sand. Here, let's do that. These guys will start making a noise. So they are 2 by 2 big. They're not going to be able to slip through that one little exit. If on your challenge map you have redstone, or you can make a sticky piston. Actually, you don't need redstone for a sticky piston. But let me go ahead and throw together one more variation that I like. So what I need is on the 3rd block up. On the 3rd block up, I'm going to place a sticky piston facing this way, and I'll just stick a lever on the block underneath it. Alright, so these guys finally died. And how much did I get? I got 17 iron ingots. Alright, so let's drop this down. Oops. And that is too high. Let me get this in the right place. Alright, so power the block underneath it with a sticky piston, and it's going to do the exact same thing, just with the flick of a switch. So pretty easy to do. Lots of ways you could organize this. Again, a lava blade that kills them automatically, or any such thing. You could put a chest up here if you wanted to. But once you got to that point, you're going to have a pretty good supply of iron. So again, this is MegaTrain. I can't imagine that there aren't other people that have come up with similar designs to what I've done here, but I didn't base this off anyone else's idea, or at least the cubbies I kind of came up with on my own. A lot of people have similar designs for their water portion. But thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them on the video. And I hope this is useful to you in your challenge maps, or in wherever you need a whole lot of villagers with a whole lot of trades. Thanks for watching.